What's happening? Kyle Postleway, aka Malcare here, Big Kitty Games. Still getting things loaded up here. Yeah, can't do that. Not a big deal. There's my phone. I'm looking to get into finishing up job skills today. Probably won't get to actually completing them completely. There's a few complicated ones remaining, like stealth and familiar, but there's some that are not quite so complicated that we have yet to work on as well. I need like a third monitor here, but that's not going to happen. Okay, I think this will work. So, let's see. Skills are... I'm a little bit embarrassed by the system, to be honest, because I didn't go for maximum abstraction. I started out doing that, and the skill system is really built around abstraction in that, you know, I've got a generic skill template attack sort of thing. And that's shared across the different types of attacks with all these different options. But with the new skill tree, there's all kinds of new things like, you know, on magic crit, do this. On getting hit by a melee crit, do this. On block, do this. You know, and so there's so many different things that I didn't end up adding all of the possibilities into the, you know, abstraction template here, abstract template. So I've actually been plugging in a lot of stuff manually, and you know, that's kind of gross in some ways. It's kind of unprofessional, I guess I want to say, but at the same time I'm actually saving myself time doing this, and it works. There's nothing wrong with it. So I don't know, it's kind of one or two ways. A lot of times abstraction is really good. I just got into a conversation about this recently with a software developer friend of mine who's much better at programming than I am, and you know, he was saying, don't bother. What were we talking about? We were talking about something else. I was talking about refactoring monster AI, animal AI and stuff, and he was saying, you know, it can be nice when you're working on a big team to have stuff spread out like that, but usually it just makes things more complicated, really. So you know, there's always an ups and downs to best practices, and situations where best practices become not best practices. You know, that's sort of they're generically what you want to do, but that doesn't mean you have to do them in every imaginable situation, right? I just got up, drinking my coffee, took the garbage out. It's cold, but I got 2 heaters on. So, let's see where we were. Squire, Scout should be good. Fighter I'm done with, I'm pretty sure. Guard, I have pretty much completed, I believe. I haven't gone through and really tested all of these 100%. But I believe those are all working. Do I have anything marked as needs to be looked at? No, I don't think so. We haven't quite finished monster movement speed calculations, so I'll need to work on that later, but let's carry on with getting adventuring skills working. We've got them all in here, and if they are marked as work in progress, like this guy is, that means that they're incomplete. But we have the data plugged in here, so we just need a description, which for these guys is increases your main hand melee damage level. Easy as that. This one reduces the penalty. Yeah, we don't have these working yet, do we? Well, we don't actually have offhand weapons nor two-handed weapons working yet. And that's something some players have told me they're waiting on. There's a number of different skills relying on those. We could get into that right now. I think I'll stick to skills for now, though. I think I got these. Rupture, I did get. Disorientation, I did get. Okay, I think we're done with adventuring. Archer. Jump back, I believe, works. Crippling shots, ranged speed. Volley does not yet work. How to animate that? Probably just need some kind of a particle effect. Let's go ahead and just get the skill working for now. So we will add in. Don't come over here, kitty. You're just gonna sit in front of my keyboard. I know, I see you. You stay over there. Nobody's bothering you. She doesn't like it when the boy cats get too close to her. You're fine. Just sit there. There you go. You just sit there. Right now it's set up as a passive. We don't want that. Basically, it's going to be the same as Flame Pillar, which I believe this has copied Flame Glyph, which is basically what we're talking about. So let's bring that over. .240 volley number 2. This guy does not yet have an icon or really anything set up. He is tier 7. On the archer tree. Volley. Sends a volley of arrows down on targets in an area. So for now, we're just going to have it summon this as an explosion. 3.5 meters, max target's 10. Requires target to trigger, not necessarily. Can critical, does ranged damage with a lot of bonus damage. I think that's a little too much bonus damage. And we don't want ticks, so no, these are dots. Okay, we don't want dots, we want damage. And I did start a script that isn't actually being used yet, but that I can go in and change these values by just changing a couple of numbers on a line like this, instead of going into all of these individually and changing them. So as long as everything on the basics is correct, we should be good to delete this one and change this one to be the only one. There can be only one. Mana cost. that's pretty high mana cost, and we actually want energy as well. More energy than mana. Perhaps 0 mana, to be honest. Go with that for now. And it requires a ranged weapon. Alright, so it's just going to spawn the flame glyph thing for now. Target effect destroy timer. Let's just put that at 2. So really all we need to do is fix this in the future. So the skill should at least be usable now and doing damage. This looks fine. Short bow training, these won't, well, let's see, I think we can do that. Short bow training increases your, this is supposed to be just damage, right? Oh, cooldown reduction, okay. Reduces your cooldown. Short bow is pretty fast. We could do increased damage with short bow maybe. And reduced cooldown with longbow training. I think we should do that. Increases your damage when your ranged damage when using a short bow. Adventuring archer passive 5. Not going to show this stuff here. So this is one of the manual ones we're going to have to plug in here. Like so. So let's say, what's it called? Why does my phone keep falling? Short bow training. Let's just say plus. Do we go damage levels? Nah. Let's look at the difference between bows, short bows and long bows. Get damage. We've got 100, and then if we are two-handed, like a long bow, no, they're both going to be 150. But then yeah, short bow is short bow is different for base speed. Yeah, if we're a two-handed magic weapon, we're speed times 2, which is 3, so we're 6. If we're a short bow, we don't do this, so we're stuck at 3. So, basically damage is going to be double for a long bow, but twice as slow. So, that's a difference of 150 and 300. But again, half the speed. Which basically means that your skills, which mostly are going to be using your weapon damage as like the base of the math that gets used in calculating the final damage. There's really not any good situation where you want to be using a short bow, is there? I mean, you can fire basic attacks off faster. I'll have to think about that. And we'll probably have to get into that when we get into adding two-handed weapons into. Right now, longbows are kind of just faking that because we know that they're two-handed weapons. We don't actually have like two-handed swords so we're probably going to have to update that logic a bit. And that's fine. So we can worry about that when we get there. It's the second time already today that I've said maybe we'll do that later. From here on, we're going to move into casters and priests. Casters are mostly going to be using wands or staves, and staves are also two-handed weapons. Maybe we should figure this out right now. Basically, I want to know how much short bow damage to add. This is what we're working on the side. So let's see. Zoom up a little maybe for you. We want to know for short bow / long bow training. I guess really just short bow training. For short bow training, we need to know the actual damage difference between long bows and short bows. And more importantly than that, we need to know the how skill damage is going to scale with two-handed weapons. So if we've got skill does plus 50 damage, we've got one-handed example, which is going to be 150, and we've got a two-handed example, which is going to be 350, right? Off of the current math. But both costs and cooldowns are going to be the same. And as I type that, I'm remembering I was going to multiply the cooldowns based on the weapon you use to use them. That makes pretty good sense to me. So if you're using a big slow weapon, it is a lot more damage, but it's a lot slower. And then would we also have to alter costs? Basically, it's the skill that's adding plus 50 damage. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're doing the difference of the 100 and the 200 here. Or, no, that's not right, is it? It'd be 250 and 150, yeah. 100 and 200. For the same cost. But if you're not using a two-handed weapon, that means that you could be using a shield, which is a big benefit. You could be using an offhand weapon, which has its own benefits. So I guess really the point of having two-handed weapon is this in and of itself. So I guess that is okay. We could say counter to this could be offhand weapons give increased parry. Shields allow block. We were talking about getting, I believe it's spelled sensor. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. Might just be sensor. Sensor? I'm not sure. You know, the little thing that priests carry. Sensor could improve healing. I'm trying to think if a staff is really important to... it does use the base magic damage, or, your staff enhances your spell's abilities. And then if you had like an offhand totem or something of that nature, a focus, I think, is one of the things I was calling them. I should write this out too, probably, huh? Let's say in the case of magic, still the same though, right? The magic, if it does 50, you could be wearing a wand, which does 100 damage, you'd be getting 150. You could be using a magic staff, which does 200, then you'd be doing 250. So you could have an offhand something that does add to your magic damage output by another 100. And then why would you do that though? You would have faster basic attacks with less damage, but your skill damage would still be the same. Likewise, if you had an offhand weapon, some skills use both weapons, right? I've actually been playing a two-handed or a dual-wielding warrior in a game and enjoying it quite a bit. I have daggers, so I've got like minimum cooldown on my attack speed. I guess maximum attack speed, you could say. So I'm really, really fast, even though I'm a warrior, not a rogue. It's been pretty fun. I'm trying to imagine how that could work better in Solace crafting. Offhand weapons do damage, and they can also add to parry, since you've got like 2 chances to parry, right? I think that's a nice benefit to have, because ultimately you are going to be doing less skill damage than if you were wearing a two-handed weapon. But some of the skills, which we've got on Adventurer, for example, which one is it? Is it Deep Wounds? No. Didn't I add a skill that uses both hands? I guess I did not. Oh, that's a fighter skill, huh? Upgrades thrust to use both hands. We didn't do that on Adventure, though, huh? Even though they do have dual wielding. That would make more reason... would give more reason to have 2 weapons. You also have an increased chance to hit, or, chance to proc, because you're hitting much more repeatedly. You also have an increased, gives increased parry, proc chance, crit trigger. I guess that's crit proc, right? Crit proc, etc. So yeah, there are other good benefits to that. Shield is, of course, big for tanks. I guess it's kind of in the case of magic that I'm worried about. Why would you wear a wand and a focus over... I guess we need to think something up for that is all. In the case of magic, I guess magic staves. Offhand focus, let's say, does what? If we've got weapons doing increased parry, proc chance, crit proc, etc., an offhand focus maybe doesn't add just to magic damage, though it does. It's going to not be adding to I guess that was the argument too, that it could, if offhand focus or whatever adds to straight to magic damage, right? Then you're not going to just be calculating staff damage. Basic attack when it goes for not ranged, but a magic weapon. We are going to calculate that damage by saying get magic damage, right? And this is calculated by everything, our stats, our enchants, and our weapon. So if the focus was adding to our magic damage stat, it would affect skills actually. So unlike the warrior, who is going to generally not be using the offhand weapon for skill damage, meaning the two-handed sword or weapon or whatever would have an advantage on skill damage, but it would lose out on all of this stuff. The magic focus offhand would not have these kinds of benefits, but it would actually be adding to skill damage like that of a magic staff, in which case a wand, one-handed wand, would really just be user choice, wouldn't it? It'd be player choice, because you could fire missiles faster but for less damage. But the DPS would be the same. Double the damage, double the cooldown for a magic staff. Higher chance to miss, but looks cool. Kinda just comes down to user preference. Offhand focus adds to magic damage, negating the difference. Offhand, let's say one-handed wand is 2x faster, 2x weaker. Largely player preference. So this is melee, right? In the case of melee characters, in the case of magic characters, so what about ranged characters? A short bow is straight up going to be 2x faster, 2x weaker. Hi, kitty. What's the matter? So they're going to be experiencing all the downfalls of this with none of these benefits and none of these benefits. So there's no good reason under this current logic to be using a short bow. Unless suffers reduced skill damage output across the board. Unless skills increase cooldown or costs based on weapon speed. So this is the case for all of this stuff though, right? It goes back to the original argument that if a two-handed weapon, a two-handed sword, had an increased cooldown for the skills, it wouldn't matter if one skill does more skill damage, as long as the costs and the cooldowns are also increased, because then you are basically doing double, and some people like to do that because you have the chance of getting a really big crit, right? If you do 250 damage and that crits and you get 300, or let's say, 510 damage on a crit, that feels really cool. Which is something you're never going to get with a one-handed weapon, but you're more likely to get more sustained damage. Mathematically, over time, they would be the same, so long as the cooldowns and the costs are scaling with the weapon speed the way that the damage does. Otherwise, you have to factor in other kinds of benefits like this, because two-handed is just going to be better, always. Shield is just kind of a special case. This is actually magic. Well, it's not necessarily magic users, but both cases. Either way. Could be a priest with a mace. Could be, it's not really melee. I guess that's what I was going with that. Priest would kind of be a melee character, but they're not going to be two-handed weapons. You could build that if you wanted to, of course. Put some points on the fighter tree. Unlock two-handed weapons. Totally possible. But, I think I will leave it as is for now and bring that up with our Discord community and pointing out that conclusion to this self-discussion here. Skill costs and cooldowns should scale with weapon speed to balance skill damage output across all weapon type. So we'll definitely have to come back and visit this. And I'll lose sleep over this and things like that. But for now, let's continue what we were doing. And we'll just go ahead and say each level of short bow training. Let's see. You've got, again, basically 150 versus 300. If we got that up to 200 versus 300, but a lot faster, that'd be pretty cool. And likewise with longbow training, it's the next one we're going to be adding here. Else, if we're talking about longbow training, let's just plug those in, see how that looks. Level times 10 damage for short bows, and in this case we'll do minus 0.2 times level speed. So this would bring a short bow from 150 up to 200 at 3 seconds. And this would change a longbow from 300 at 6 seconds down to 5 seconds. Maybe we should bring that halfway down. So we're doing 2/3 of the damage at this point of 300. And we're only doing 1/6 reduction here. If we bring that down to 4.5, that would be a little better maybe. What is 200 divided by 3? 666 versus 300 divided by 4.5. Oh, that's the same. So, you can actually pick which one you want and go either way here. It's pretty nice. What is 1.5 divided by 5? I'm not very smart. Yeah, that's a ratio of 66.6 DPS basically. But again, we'd still run into the skill damage problem, where skills are using this as their base damage. So good for now, but that's definitely something we're going to want to get into when we get into dual wielding and two-handed weapons, which have not yet necessarily been added in yet. Now, this is just the description. We need to actually program this in. So we want to go to player stats. Hi, kitty. What's the matter? You want to be on camera? This is Pee-Pee. You sit on my lap. When we are calculating, or no, we're going through our equipment buffs. No. We're going to want to look at this precisely, I suppose. There's also the what's it called? Oh geez, this isn't what I was looking for. Unequip item, here we go. Equip item. We go through the enchants. Enchants equipped. We're not actually doing this anymore though, right? We're now actually looking at things specifically here. Yeah, I had specific damage calculators. Where are those? Did I skip over them? Melee damage levels. Special condition passive abilities. This is basically what we're talking about. But where do we go through and actually get the weapon damages? I kind of just wanted to peek at that once more. Here they are. Melee. Yeah. Basically, if we are... We've got a two-handed ranged weapon. We don't have main hand ranged weapon set up yet. That's something we'll have to get into too. I don't actually have that on the skill tree anywhere. Be like throwing daggers, throwing axes. That'll be fun. And we can definitely do special skills for those too eventually. But anyway, so if our main hand is not null and it is a two-handed ranged weapon, we're getting our damage, our level, and our speed, but then we also want to go if main hand, which is an item, right? Main hand dot item type equals short bow. No, let's see. We don't. How do we differentiate that? I don't think we have anything that does that yet. What I'm thinking of here is weapons. No, I want to go to item templates. Weapons and bows. We've got longbow, shortbow, but we've also got like recurve bow and elven bow. And these are long bows, but they're not specified as long bows. Only the short bow is the short bow. This we definitely want to add to over time, so there are more short bows and more long bows. So we need a way to differentiate between those two. I'm just going to make a note of that. I guess we could put that here, as I'm going to keep this to go back to and work on when we get into dual wielding and all that. And let's say also we need a way to differentiate items as either long or short bow. But for now, we will just say if the main hand dot item is actually a short bow, since it's the only short bow currently in the game, we will then check our short bow training level equals player skills dot get current skill level for short bow training. And if short bow training level is greater than 0, we are then also going to add ranged damage to plus equal level, short bow training level times 10. Et voila. Likewise, else if it is a longbow, or, see, and this is where we don't want to be doing this, because presently I'm going to have to say recurve bow, and we don't even have those plugged in manually. We've got them listed as 600 and 610 are our item numbers. Item dot code, is it? No, I guess it is. It's just item, but cast as an integer. If this equals 600 or int main hand item is equal to 610. And we've got longbow training. Then our ranged attack speed, I guess we can do plus equals that times minus 0.3, right? That'll put us from 6 to a maximum possible 4.5, all right? So again, not as, robotic abstraction is everything. This is manually coded in, but for these really specific cases, it actually ends up being far less work to just plug it in like this. Looks like we actually got a new follower. Powerful surge. Thank you for that. All right, moving along. That was a long discussion that we'll need to get into. I usually do that kind of stuff. I was going to say off air, but I usually do everything off air. So it was kind of a redundant statement. Let's see. Where were we? Longbow training, shortbow training, arrow storm. How is this different than volley? Yes. Fires a basic shot every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. This is basically like flurry, but for the bow. So, for flurry, we set up a custom action, right? I'm pretty sure. No? Did we get this working? I thought we got this working. Custom actions. I don't have anything in there. Did I program it directly into the attack logic? That would seem a bit extreme. Calculated strike. Yeah, there's no flurry logic in here, is there? Did I add that anywhere? Mob skill database. Yeah, I built this. I guess I didn't plug him in though. Definitely need to plug that in. Basically, we're going to do 6 attacks against our target. I increased the range a bit, but made sure that it does cancel out if you get too far. Like, you start the attack, you turn, and you run. It's not going to hit all 6 of them, but it does give a little extra leeway if you're moving around kind of while looking at the monster a bit. Excuse me. So, first of all, we want to spawn this guy, since he for some reason did not make it. Custom actions, flurry. And then we need to drag him into here. Now, I'm actually just going to go ahead. Well, I guess what we really want to do is copy this more or less. But we're going to make a new one called STCA Skill Template Custom Action Arrow Storm. And paste and rename. Hi, kitty. You're just bored, aren't you? What's the matter? Hi. What's wrong? Hi. Just sit on my lap. What's the matter? This is Pee-Pee. Hey. Oh, stepping on the keyboard. We don't actually care about distance, and we're not doing melee attacks. This is actually quite a bit different now that I think about it. Very similar to, well, basically, yeah, we're doing this guy here. Need to do the majority of this. Not going to do that. Crippling shots we do. Preparation I don't think we want. We're already passing damage in, so we don't need to recalculate that every time. But we do need to spawn this guy, I believe. These we don't care about. We're firing arrows. Direction also we don't care about. We'll go ahead and do that. I think there's a different sound. No? Ranged attack. Attack. No, that's the same. Oops. Was there not a melee animation going off for this guy? Doesn't look like there is there? We need to add that. Let's open that guy up. Flurry. Where'd you go? We need you to make your animation as well, buddy. Like so. And we're going to have to improve that too. That's one of many things to do. The animation, it's called the animator, actually. Animation controller. Got cat fur all over me now. This here, but we want to do ranged attack for this guy. And I like it small like this, but I guess I can turn it up a bit while I'm streaming. Yeah. It's kind of hard to look at when it's that big. Game object, this is going to spawn the arrow. We're going to go forward. That's all good and fine. Do we have all of this? This is fine. I guess that is the same logic. Should be good. Set the rotation, grab the projectile. Attempt critical. Probably going to have to copy that, aren't we? Which isn't a big deal. It's basically just doing this. Get skill chance. The chance being client dot player what? Player stats get stat ranged grit chance. And this needs client before it. And we probably need, no, what's going on? Get skill chance, and then we need to random roll that. Can I do this shorthand? Random range, and then probably what? I need a Unity engine here. 0 equals less than the crit chance. I guess, yeah, I don't need shorthand. That's a statement in and of itself. We're not using systems, so okay, that's fine. I think that works. Don't often write bool statements like that, but it is acceptable. It is a statement. If critical, increase the damage. Set up the projectile. Arrow speed, arrow duration. This is basic attack, so yeah, this is going to error and stop compiling, which is fine. Thank you. Basic attack is under a special category. 5.5. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and set that to 5.5. These are all the arrow settings. Special effects manager. This is going to spawn one for any players in the area looking at us on their side. Crippling shots. We do want to use that. This we do not need. We're already adding. Yeah, this is just left over from Flurry, isn't it? We didn't actually add a skill name to this, though, did we? Attack holder dot skill name equals arrow storm. But we don't need you. We're not doing you. We're waiting 0.5 seconds, and we're doing that 6 times. Okay, that should work. If I didn't break anything. And we just need to spawn that. And plug it in. So this is an example of the abstraction I was talking about. This is abstraction. Custom abstraction, so it's kind of a paradox. Basically, it will allow me to run anything special that needs to happen outside of these basic settings. So I can program and specify something in here, but that doesn't work when you're talking about passives like reactive skills, damage shields. Those need to be added and programmed onto the player. But let's see. Fires 6 arrows in rapid succession. Not actually giving any specific stats here, but we do actually want to have okay, yeah, this doesn't work. We're still using passive for this guy. We need to have a basic usable something like what are the archer abilities? Piercing shot, spread shot, piercing shot. This is a projectile. I think I would rather just have it as an attack. I think I'll just go ahead and spawn one. Oops. Create Solace crafting skill template, attack skill template. 280 arrow storm 2. This is going to be arrow storm. Let's just go ahead and copy all of this. I don't think you can copy. Yeah, you can't. Repopulate. That would be nice if Unity lets you do that. Category. Adventuring. Skill tree. Archer. Skill type. Normal. Tier 9. 05. Cooldowns. This is what we needed. Ohayou gozaimasu. These are supposed to be the really strong skills with a really long cooldown. 600 minus 1 minute per level. Sounds fair. So that's what, 540, 480, 420, and 360. Did I have these finish on 5? I did. So they start at 9. 98765 requires a ranged weapon. Don't need any of this just yet. Weapon damage, I don't think we need to plug any of that in. Flurry did, but it shouldn't matter. Might as well. Ranged, can crit, none of that. Don't need that. Custom actions, here we go. And that should be it. So we can delete this guy and rename this to here, even though the name of the object itself doesn't matter. And that should be good. Rapid fire, I don't think I have programmed in. Let's double check what it's supposed to do. Chance to fire twice with quick shot. Cool. Let's close arrow storm, basic attack. This is going to be in here. Let's go to passive. Rapid shot. What's our chance to do that? 50% would be a lot. 35%? How about? Does that sound alright? What's 35 minus 25? Start out at 10. Add 5 per. 5 plus 5 times level, right? So for level 5, or 25 plus 5 is 30, so I guess we start out at 10, huh? Go 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Percent chance. This is going to be chance to fire twice with quick shot. Chance to fire gives your quick shot skill a chance to fire twice. Adventuring Arch passive missing. Don't need any of this. It's passive now if we're doing our attack, and it is called Quick Strike. Should be right about here. We might be doing this twice, but it's actually projectile, isn't it? That's why it's not here. Skill template projectile. If our skill is quick shot, we don't have that plugged in here anywhere yet. No? If it's quick shot, crippling shots, do that. Engage is a enumerator. I don't want to loop the whole thing again, though. Number of projectiles. Yes, we do already have this. Okay. Okay. So let's say if and do we have a pause for that somewhere? We don't actually have a pause for that. Who makes use of this? Number of projectiles. Somebody actually doing that? I forget. Because we don't want to just go boing boing. That's what this is, huh? Projection, enable No, that's not really the same thing. No, that's not within there, is it? I need a timer for this. Number of projectiles. Oh, we do use projectile spread though, don't we? That's why that's there. No? Is that not being used anywhere? Pretty sure we do that somewhere. Let's see. Direction. I guess I never quite got finished doing that. I was going to do spread shot. Have it fire 3 arrows, right? Take a peek at that. Spread shot is firing 5, 5, 5, projectile spread 10. But we're not actually using that projectile spread yet, so I think I didn't quite finish that, did I? 10's probably way too much too, but let's see. What I think we need is we need a timer, right? So there's currently no other skills that need a timer though. I don't think there are any on the job trees. So we don't have to make a public variable necessarily. But we don't want to be waiting for, and it's not right here, we don't want to be waiting for spread shot. We only want to be waiting for rapid fire. I guess we want to calculate this down at the end. 4, 4, 4 right here. If we could put it in here, since we've already looked for quick shot. If this fails, we don't need to consider the logic. But once again, we'll do another check here. If we are indeed, I kind of don't like that. That's embedded within another if. That's weird. If skill name equals quick shot, we want to get our rapid fire level. I'd like to capitalize those properly. Equals client dot player stats dot get current player skills. Get current skill level for rapid fire. And then if rapid fire level is greater than 0 and our random range of 0 to 100F is less than, we did 10 plus 5 times rapid fire level, then we want to do number of projectiles plus plus. So we're going to alter that for loop before it runs out. And we're going to yield return new wait for seconds. Let's say 0.3. So we're going to just fire, wait a second, and do it again in the event that our quick shot rapid fire chance triggered properly. I think that should work. Going back to spread shot, how did I not finish this? I must have ran off to lunch or something suddenly. So I think this is indeed what we needed here. I think projectile spread of 10 is probably too much, but let us see. Spread direction. If client is local player, which it should be, not necessarily. Transform rotation. So, initial spread, let's call this current spread, equals 0, spreading right equals true. Let's do spread logic. Let's say if I is greater than 0, meaning we're not on the first one's not going to spread. If I is greater than 0, and if we are spreading right, then we're going to do current spread equals yeah, I think this will work. Current spread plus equals projectile spread, was it? And then what we're going to have to do to that is change our rotation a bit here. Look rotation direction. This is actually a quaternion. Vector 3 forward is what we're using though, so looking at forward plus direction math is a bit complicated. Basically we're using this as our direction though, right? Do we have to bring in the is client local player stuff? We do, don't we? Those are the same, aren't they? Interesting. Client, oh no, yeah, okay. So it's player camera versus network camera. That's what we're using. Is the rest of that all the same? Because if it is, I can improve that a bit. Main hand position. Client player avatar, get main hand position minus client forward. These are kind of doing the same thing, aren't they? Hold on a second here. Raycast hit. These three lines are all the same except for network camera and player camera. Main hand position is just being used differently. Hit point. In the bottom one, it's down here. Is the only thing that's different, right? Hit dot point minus, yeah, that's the same there. And then those are the same as well, right? Okay, we actually, this version's better since we're calling that twice. So let's do that here. Main hand position. Main hand position. And now everything else is the same, right? So really what we want to do here is, this is a transform. It's actually just a vector 3 that we're making use of, right? In all of these. No, we do want the transform. Okay, so let's do transform camera equals null. And then in these cases, we want to say camera equals this guy. However, in this event, the camera is going to equal the network camera, like that. And then we can remove all of this stuff from that logic and just keep it once. Well, nobody was biting you. You're fine, kitty. moving this. Let's just reorganize this stuff a little better here. This stuff is camera. Camera. This one too. Camera. Right, all is well. Main hand position. Looks good, looks good. Likewise, now we don't need this stuff. Direction equals camera dot forward. We've already got that though. So anyway, basically what we want to do here is apply a bit of a angle, right? So how to do that? Spread logic needs to go before the rotation is applied, I believe. Can I just add to it? Direction, camera forward, vector 3 dot up. This is just a little bit of an angle, so we could probably do something similar to that. 0.03. I don't know what that equates to. 30%, 3% shift upward. Basically, if we added forward and up together and then normalized it, we would get a vector right in between those. So I'm only adding a little bit up, just 3% of up. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to just add a little bit to the right. So let's say direction equals direction plus vector 3 right. I'm just not sure what to put in here. We have the scriptable object in the editor set to 10 for the projectile spread. I was going to treat that like in degrees, but we'll just have to try it out, and we can certainly do that. So let's just do something like projectile spread divided by 100. So we'll be doing 10 divided by 100. And then we'll renormalize that. And then that will be used to calculate the look rotation of the arrow, which is basically just where it's going to go. And we will set spreading right to equal false. Now when we come back to this, since spread shot is going to do 5 or 6 shots, do we still have that selected? Number of projectiles 5. So we're going to do one in the middle, and then we're going to go right, left, right. So in this case, we've upgraded the current spread. I guess that's actually what we wanted to be using, huh? Current spread. And then we want to do, we don't want to add to the spread, we want to do minus. In other words, left. And then we want to set spreading right back to true. And we're also going to want to do something like, no, that works, right? So now we're going to come back to right, and once again it's going to add to the spread. It's going to treat it to the right. So yeah, it's going to go center. Since at 0 it's not going to do anything. Center, right, left, right, left. Should be good. And it will fire off a bunch of projectiles. So that should fix spread shot, and we also set up quick shot, right? Let's get that compiling. skill name equals quick shot. Rapid fire goes off. We do another projectile. And we want to make sure that the spread is 0 for quick shot. So, quick shot is a squire skill. Right. Not squire, scout. Quick shot, spread 0. And archer, spread shot, 510. All right, let's give that a try now. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Spread shot, you're good, right? All those well. What is this? Damage bonus minus 20. Oh yeah, okay. So each one's going to be doing a little bit less damage. But you're going to be doing 5 of them. And potentially all 5 of those are going to hit one mob for a lot of damage. Or you could fire it into a crowd and maybe hit a bunch of goblins running at you. New World has this though, where you get the point blank spread shot hitting for a ridiculous amount of damage. Pretty sure I have all... no, yeah, this is my fighter. But I do have most... yeah, I'm fighter / adventurer, so I should have access to the archer tree. And I've still got some points, and there's spread shot right there. I definitely want to have... better description there, but let's see if I can shoot it and then pause real quick. Yeah, you can see all 4 of them there. Can you see those? Or 5 of them, I guess. Where's my mouse? And we've got 5 arrows, and that's actually a very nice spread. I'm quite alright with that. Each one of these has a projectile on it doing 300 damage, since again I'm using a longbow. So that's a lot of damage. I wonder if I'm going to hit that pig. Nope. Let's see if we can hit something. Let's see if we can hit 2 things. Wasn't there something walking around? There's a goblin. See if I can hit both of these. Oh, he's going to go line up for us. Oh yeah. I hit them both. Did he not die? What's going on? Pretty sure I hit him. Anyway. That's a little spready. Could be a little less spready. It's pretty nice though. I like that. Okay. Anyway, that's cool. Moving on. What are we doing? Archer. I think we got everything working there. What was the other? Well, I don't have the trap working properly, do I? We better fix that. What is that? It is scout skill to begin with. Snare trap. I changed this, and yeah, this isn't actually trap back anymore. Snares your target while jumping backwards. That's not what this is anymore. This is now snare trap, and it places a trap to damage and snare an enemy. And you, sir, are snare trap. And it's got this trap model in it, which is basically just a stupid little circle that I drew, right? So, I'm pretty bad at 3D modeling, but that's not acceptable. I could probably find, or I could probably model a little, like a little bear trap thing. I tried to find one, see if I could pay $5 for one somewhere, but I did not find one. Or the ones that I found were like high tech, didn't really fit for they were like more like for like a sci-fi game or something. But anyway, it should place this, and I had a debug in it already to try and show that it had triggered. Yeah, you're still called Trapback, huh? Let's go ahead and rename you to Snare Trap. Snare Trap and Snare Trap. That stuff gets more annoying the longer you let it go. So, Snare Trap, engage, and then we're probably going to break the prefab since we just changed the name of the script. So better double check that first so we don't forget about it. Yeah, it just plain does not like that. Trap's right there. Good. Create Solace crafting, custom actions, snare trap. Oops, what did I... SDCA snare trap. You're fine, what's the matter? That must have been the old one. Anyway, trap is this guy, and it's probably this one that's yelling about it. Snare trap. I don't like spaces there. You, sir, are missing. There you go. Okay, anyway. Now, the trap itself has player trap script on it that on trigger enter. No. No, yeah, it is a trigger. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So the trap itself is set up as a trigger, right? It's a anything that walks over this. And we could make it a little bigger. Nah, that's fine. And what layer is he on? Player spells. Yeah, that works. So on trigger enter, if a mob has walked onto this, we are going to attack it using the player holder that was sent to us, or the attack holder that was sent to us. Let's say trap triggered, and any effects, play effects, and then later we'll add a visual effect to it, delayed destroy. We want to set to destroying equals true so that we don't double fire. Lifetime is 15, so it will only last for 15 seconds. Otherwise, it will wait the 2 seconds here. Let's add a second bool. Triggered equals false, and we'll say triggered equals true. If we are not the server, we are destroying, or we are triggered. We're not going to damage more things. Very good. Okay, so let's give this one a try. I thought that I had it working. And then there are upgrades to the snare trap on the adventure, or is it archer? Both of them. Adventure has poison trap, archer has stunning trap. So I'm pretty sure that logic is not yet plugged in, because I wanted to finish making sure that this worked properly. Let's go to snare trap, and let's see, I can just put it anywhere. Let's turn grass off. Just so we can see. Oh, that doesn't actually turn the little veggies off, does it? I could incorporate that to do that as well. 6, played an attack. I'm not seeing a trap. Pause. Is there a trap? I don't see a trap anywhere. What did I miss here? Still called trap back. Oh, that's a problem. That's why I got that error, isn't it? The file itself is still called trap back. This is now snare trap. Is it going to break the prefabs again? Perhaps. Compiling. Snare trap, he's still working. Snare trap, this guy still has reference. Okay, we're fine. It did not look like it called though. So, snare trap is an attack. It's got the custom action on it. The custom action needs to be reopened since we changed the file name. Snare trap. This guy tries to find the ground and spawn the trap, which we are referencing. We are grabbing it, setting it up properly. Should be good. I wonder if it was just because the script was named funky there that it didn't fire properly. Let's try that once more. Basically, it's just looking for the ground beneath us. Either terrain, a building, a world encounter, or decoration. It'll drop the trap. Spawn it. should wait there for 15 seconds. And we should be able to get something to walk over it. Okay, there it is. Yeah, it didn't like that I did that earlier. Alright, let's spawn a monster. Forgive me for So let's place a new one, and I don't think that I will one-shot him. Okay, let's put it to my right. That's not where I wanted it. But I should be able to get him here. The trap triggered. How come this guy's... He didn't take any damage from the first one. What happened here? Let's go full screen so I can see the chat bar here, which you can't totally see too well. You attack Earth Elemental. You parried. Alright, buddy, you're bothering me here. Wonder if he dodged that first arrow. And then what happened to the trap? It's using... Let's pause here. It's basically just trying to attack him. Which means he's going to try and resist and dodge and all kinds of things, which we don't want him to do. Attack holder can trigger reactions. Yeah, I wanted to change that to be a third Boolean, but that'll work for now, huh? Attack holder, blah blah blah. When we set up the attack holder to this guy, okay, we want to be a little bit more specific with that, don't we? Attack holder equals new, not mu. Damage, this stuff. It's piercing, that's fair. But then we also want to specify, for example, the skill name is going to equal snare trap, so that it will actually tell us that happened. Attack holder dot can trigger reactions equals false. Can it critical? Nah, I don't think so. Okay, so it shouldn't be able to dodge or anything like that now. If it triggers, it triggers. We could do a resist. That's why I think we're going to have to be able to get more specific with this. I suppose we could do that right now. Attack holder can resist equals true. Who all is using this? I don't think... It's mostly just what? Riposte, force field, some of those things. Shield spikes, counterattack. Yeah, what this really is saying is I am a reaction, so I don't want to trigger additional reactions. This isn't actually being used properly in this case and in the logic there. Can there any event when we're going to not be able to dodge something? I don't think so. Well, that's what I'm trying to do here though, right? Can miss. Do we need to set all of these up? I'm trying to think if there are any current needs for this actually or not. Can miss, can dodge, can parry, can block. It'll probably, I'm thinking of other games too where there are skills that say, you know, you can't, this can't be parried. So we can go ahead and add those in there, and by default they're all going to be true, so anybody that's not specifically setting them is going to just go ahead and allow them. In this case, for our snare trap, it can trigger reactions. No. That we do not want. We also don't want can miss. No. Can dodge. No. Can block. Can parry. No. Can block, parry. No. Can resist though. It's not really magic. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe some of the other stuff, but so all of this is going to be false, and we're going to pass that to the trap. When it triggers, it's going to attack using that attack holder we've given it, and that's going to get passed to all of this, and so this isn't actually how we want this to be here. Again, I just want to double check. Someone's not using this incorrectly, are they? This is riposte logic, which is fine. You should be able to parry that, block that. It's capable of missing, etc. Force field. Okay, there. Yeah, I can think of some places now that this is damage type arcane. So we're already. I lost my monster holder there. I was looking at that. Since it's set to arcane, it should already know that we can't weigh the skill against it. That's going to weigh our resist against it, so that's fine. What about block and parry though? Can you block and parry magic? Not really. What is the guard skill? Spell block. I didn't write myself a description for that. And I probably didn't finish that, did I? I thought that I did, but I didn't. I skipped over that one. Reversal I remember programming. Spell block I did not though. What do we want spell block to be? Let's say it is a 25% chance to block a spell. Maybe not 25, but something like that. In other words, normally a block is going to require, again, these are just all incorrect. Okay, I just want to finish looking up these. So again, riposte is fine like that. Force field, however, also if we set up spell block logic and we tell it that it cannot be blocked, but player tries to block it because they're using spell block, we don't really want to specify that it cannot be blocked. Preferably, we would like to say in the logic here that just because it's arcane, like we're doing here, that it can't be blocked. So okay, I'll do that, and let's continue double checking where all of these references are going off. So that's force field, that's fine. It's being set to arcane, that's good. Damage type is being set to the weapon type, that's good. This is on hit proc damage, which is a priest ability. They do extra light damage. And this is one of the few things that I did use abstraction on, see, and that's actually just kind of making it more difficult now, to be honest. It's just giving generic on-hit proc damage instead of specifically saying, what is that? I forget. It's one of these weapons. Weapon skills. Anyway. Can trigger reactions, false is correct. What is the damage type of this, though? This should be holder.damage type equals arcane. That's why this is too generic. Might have to get rid of that abstraction at some point. But that's fine for now. Can trigger reactions, false is good. Set to arcane, so it won't. This is only triggering when the player has already hit, meaning this actually should not, well yeah, it's arcane, so it can't be dodged, can't be, well, it can be dodged. Let's go ahead and set this one to holder dot can be dodged, can dodge equals false. And since it's arcane, it won't be able to be parried or blocked or miss, but it might be resisted, and I think that is acceptable. This is on block shield spikes. Likewise, we should say holder dot skill name equals, I don't think we want capitals there, do we? Shield spikes, we'll go ahead and do capitals. Shield spikes, and can trigger reactions is false, good. Holder dot damage type should be piercing. I don't think this can be missed or dodged or blocked or parried though, right? But we don't really want to set it to be arcane. We just want to say holder dot can miss equals false. Dodge, parry, block. And piercing won't attempt to resist, supposedly. We'll double check that. Can miss, can dodge, can block, can parry. To false. Cannot trigger reactions. Good. Carrying on. This is counterattack. This should use the damage type of the main hand, which we looked at earlier. Where was riposte? Was this guy, right? Damage type. We want to copy that down here. Damage type. Cannot trigger reactions. It's good. Otherwise, you're basically just making a second attack. So it's fine if they can dodge or parry it or anything like that. And last but not least, oh, snare trap. Okay, yeah, so this one cannot trigger reactions, but also cannot miss, dodge, parry, block, or be resisted. If it triggers, it triggers. Probably want to have resist, to be honest, but I'm just trying to think, like, player trap, are we assigning the, where is it? The level. Okay, this is where we're doing it here. Okay. Should we just assign? Yeah. Okay, we'll leave that one as it is, and let's go ahead and set. Oh yeah, we've already got the level set here. Okay. So I think that that is fine. It's set to piercing, so it's not going to be attempted to be resisted anyway. Kind of wanted to say that maybe it could be resisted, but yeah, we'll let it trigger. They're stepping on it, right? And it's going to factor in their armor and things like that anyway, since it's piercing. So let's go back to Monster AI and make sure that we're doing this stuff right now, because this is currently not correct. That doesn't matter here. We want to say can miss. It can miss and... Oh no, this is resist logic. Can resist and some of that. Where's the miss? Oh, this is currently being calculated on attacks. Should be moved here. We could do that right now. Let me look at the rest of this real quick though. Miss, resist, can dodge, can block, can parry. That's better. Now, I also want to add in here dodge works for everybody, right? Miss, resist, can dodge, block, however, you can't block any of these. Unless you've got spell block, and we'll have to add extra logic for that. Okay, I'm kind of getting a little backed up here. Want to make sure that we move miss logic to Monster AI, and let's also make sure that we fix finish spell block. So I might forget one of those doing like 4 things at once here. I just heard somebody watching this on YouTube saying that they wish that I would focus on bugs, and I'm going to be doing that in the PM today. FYI. Time is an illusion. Where were we? So you can't block magic. This is something I haven't really worked out in my head either. What about poison and disease? I don't think so. Those are going to get applied as effects for the most part. I don't think there's ever going to be an attack that comes in that's just... It could be like, what if it's a poison arrow, right? Or what if it's a poison spell? How do you differentiate between those? I wonder if there should be logic that says, try to hit with like an arrow, for example, and then if it hits, well, projectiles do that. But no, not necessarily. They try to attack which means it's going to go through all this logic, which means it could miss. And then if it misses or not, it's still going to apply the poison effect. We might have to improve that logic someday. That's kind of getting a little too specific, though. Let's add that down a bit. Let's say, should poison disease be applied on miss, i.e. poison arrow. I don't think I'll do that right now, but something to keep in mind. So you can't block this stuff. You also can't parry this stuff. And let's go ahead and use the ones that we just turned off. Make sure it does not equal any of these. Can be parried. Okay, so our trap now should be able to bypass all of this and properly hit our monsters. Right? Let's recompile and try that again. I think having miss logic with arrows too is a bit silly. I mean, that's the same silly as your sword though. Standing right in front of you. Oh, got errors. You're swinging your sword and you can still miss. I'm sure that bothers some people. But I like that better than like Valheim, for example. It's like World of Warcraft versus Valheim. Not which game is better, just two different ways of doing things. And we don't actually use targets in Solace crafting, so it's been I've lost a lot of sleep over that over the years. Should we have targets? Because we're using the WoW math style, where your character has his stats, and those are the stats that determine whether you've hit or you miss. Whereas Valheim, it's distance and timing and position, stuff like that, that determines whether you hit or not. It doesn't care if you have a hit stat or a skill stat. It's just physics and then damage. So different ways of doing different things. Different ways of doing the same thing. I like having all of these stats though, and being able to craft. That's what really plays into the crafting of the game. So I think that is important, personally. Notice me. So I'm going to put a trap down. Where'd that trap go? I'm not seeing it. The skill fired, but I'm not seeing a trap. Once again, skill fired, no trap. Oh, that guy's a rock thrower. It worked just a moment ago. What happened? This did break. I thought we confirmed that it didn't break. Not a big deal. Just respawn it. Snare trap. And it needs to reference the trap up here. And snare trap needs to reference the custom action. Okay. Not sure how that got broke, but that's fine. We're an hour to lunch. My wife has the day off. She is going to want to go somewhere fancy, which we're not going to do, but she just wants to do that 24/7. I would like to go to the store and buy enough goods to make a barbecue bacon cheeseburger. I've been practicing my burger game. I've gotten a lot better at making tasty burgers, even though we don't have buns here in Japan, which is a pretty serious bummer. I'm going to go ahead and save that I learned that skill. There it got placed, which basically means my trap expired. It did. I'm going to put another one down, and trap triggered, but what happened? He didn't take any damage. None that I saw. Health bar didn't show up anyway. Let's look at his health. Armor, health bar, where's your health? Max health is 581 and he's currently at 500. Snare trap engaged, trap triggered. Combat log says nothing of the sort. So what happened there? And why is his max health not... I'm going to look at that before I hit him when I come back. Player... Trap engaged. We saw the trap placed. We saw the trap trigger and attack him, supposedly. Let's go ahead and add a debug here just to be sure. Trap attacking using the client that was passed in when we spawned, right? So we are passing in this properly, supposedly. It is a basic attack, right? Oh, we're going to recompile. I believe... Skill template attack. Right, not basic, but yeah, attack. So, let's take a peek at that. Engage, if there's some special stuff to do at the bottom here. We're going to pass the client to it, which is good. It did spawn it. It did fire. It did attack. Client is not null. Should go straight to here. Wait, what? Bool is player. False. If client is not null, which, yeah, it's not, and the game object client.gameObject layer equals player layer, that's just setting the target. Passing this here. There should always be something that fires, though. Miss, resist, whatever. How come we didn't get any message? We saw the trap trigger. We're going to see it fire trap attacking as well, supposedly. Let's get it loading up again, make sure that that's firing. And in any event, we should get some kind of a console printout here saying you hit it, or it parried or blocked or whatever. I got a rock lopper. Let's see if I can pull him over this. Oh yeah, I want to look at his health real quick too. Are you at your max health, sir? Which is where? You are not. So that's interesting. They're rolling their max health this gets called by what I'm using. Health equals max health. Good, 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 fine. Entity stat logic though. Input archetype, recalculate stats, level health, max health. Everything gets updated. Max health equals this, and then this is recalculate stats though. This could be called post, debuff or whatever. So we can't specifically do that. Let's say recalc stats, bool, initial equals false. That goes after reference, right? And then if initial, yeah, we don't have to do that here actually. What if we just say, yeah, entity stat logic. This only gets called during the generate self thread and the force upgrade thread, right? Yeah. So after that is calculated, we want to do health equals max health manually, which begs the question, why are we passing health here? I don't think this is actually being touched. Pretty sure it's not. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Because again, that gets actually used. No, I think we do want that though. We do want to say if health is greater than max health. Say the stamina gets ridiculously debuffed, and the previous max health was 500, and he was at 500, but now max health is 400. You don't want to leave him at 500, right? So health equals max health, like that. But yeah, when we first create him, if he is not at his max health, we do want to set him to his max health. So that's good. And then that was all that I wanted with that, right? Yeah. Now we want him to step on the trap. Trap triggered, but no damage taken. And we did not get our monster trap attacking call. Other.game object layer should definitely be mob layer. He's mobs, he's got a capsule collider. That should be what triggered it. If monster equals null, return, but he certainly has that. Collider other. There's not some other weird collider that hit that, did there? No, just got to be more specific here. Trap triggered by other.gameObject.name, and let's go ahead and say debug.log no monster AI found. That could be a problem. We'll say mob layer here, and attack holder equals null. That's possible, but we're passing that in pretty specifically. Attack holder here is not null. It's got all that stuff we added into it. But it is null. This is just the default serialization. Am I not setting it in the input here? I am. Attack holder equals attack holder, which should have been sent to us from here. Snare trap and all of that. Player, trap, setup, client, attack holder, effect. How come that's not? It looks like it's null here. Why is that? Snare trap engaged. What am I missing here? Missing something. That's what the debugs are for. And I'll look at the attack holder as soon as I spawn it. Because that's a problem if that's not populating properly for some reason. And why would that be? Yeah, that still looks empty. So basically, an attack holder is serializable, which lets me look at it in the inspector. And if I try to look at it in the inspector when it's null, it's going to create one for me to look at using all of these default values. So we can see everything's checked, etc. There's no name applied to it, even though before, or as soon as I spawned it, oh, there you go. This is incorrect. I'm getting the script off of the prefab, not the instantiated object of the prefab itself. So that'll do that. Not what we want. We want to grab the instantiation of our prefab and alter its data. Excuse me. Christine. Arigato. It's nice and warm in here now. Approaching noon, sunny day, middle of winter. Alright, I'm confident that that's going to work now, so let's go ahead and spawn a monster to try it on. He saw me right away, but he is a lobber. That's nice. So I've spawned the trap. Let's take a peek at him, make sure his health is working now. Max health, there he is. Health is updating properly. Post spawning, and he was hit by the trap. And that's actually supposed to slow him down too. We haven't finished movement logic though, have we? But anyway. He was hit, so that's good. I'm not an archer. This is a melee character that I built. He just dodged both of those? That was super unlucky. Anyway. Stu was saying he had a problem with mobs dodging him. There were like low-level mobs that were dodging him. Like I just walked right through that. I think I just hit him 3 times. And the thing triggered twice. I thought I already fixed that. If we attack entity here, if the health falls below 0, it should be dead immediately. At which point any subsequent attacks should not affect it. But it looks like that's the chat log. Let's look at the combat log. You hit double attack and then on hit proc damage, hit him again. On hit proc damage should also be going through this though. So player combat, player hit, this fired and went to attack entity, which means that it should have triggered this, should have even triggered that. How did he not die the first time? You hit Goblin for 247. You hit Goblin with double attack for 241. And on proc. Any one of those probably should have killed him. Double attack might have been necessary. That guy's level 1 though. I should have done like 1,000 damage to him. I guess my sword isn't that big, is it? Is this only a tier 1? Oh, I took my sword off because that's why I had a tough time with those elementals, huh? Still, my damage level should be super high. Not this high, but still very high from attributes. I'm confused. I guess it is. It's only a 100 damage weapon, and I did 241, about 250. I think that's what it's capped up to, 2.5 maximum scale. Anyway, the trap triggered properly. The trap was working. Movement speed isn't quite set up properly yet for monsters. Maybe we should do that. Yeah, I'll look at that. I'm a little confused by a number of things. Anyway, I think I actually just don't even have that logic set up, do I? Player trap. We do have some kind of slow value being passed. Effect, stat alteration, add, run speed. Reduction, and that should also be applied to the monster. Let's go ahead and just test that out here real quick. Since we can actually look at the monster itself. Let me just spawn another one in. So currently, this is a level 45 guy. I'm level 50. We're in a level 0 area. But his current speed is where? Walk speed 2, run speed 8.7. And that should also be reflected on his agent. So he's currently at a speed of 2. Then if I put a trap down and I shoot him in the butt and get him to step on that, yeah, he's still at 8.7, which is his maximum, like normal. Pre-alteration hit, right? But he should have an effect. You hit Earth Elemental with Snare Trap for 86, which should have applied the smooth to him. We should be able to see that somewhere. I believe. Current effects. He's currently got run speed minus 60% on him, supposedly. But it looks like that's not being handled properly. So let's look at that real quick, because that's important for a number of different things. Anyways, this is working as expected. So that's all good and well. We'll just do that in case we want to use it later. And snare trap, likewise, might use that someday. Rest of this was working fine. Good. Might look at you later. Attack holder. Good. So we've applied a slow effect to our monster. Freeze, handle effects. Recalculate effects. Run speed equals this. For each key value, pair in current effects in alterations. Alterations, we're going to build a dictionary of alterations based on all the effects to make sure we get a cumulative total to be working with. Recalculate effects. Good. Okay, so we're not actually even doing debuffs yet, are we? The only place that these are being referenced is right here, and the timer logic. Okay, so we need to finish this. Handle effects. That's fine. Recalculate effects. Apply effect. Give it to the here. Recalculate. Okay, so when we recalculate, we want to make sure that we are applying that to all of our stats. So that would be our entity stat holder dot alter stat. And let's go ahead and do that in here. I don't think there is run speed being tossed in here anywhere. That's being kept separate, right? Add stat, yeah. We're not using it in this regard, but we are keeping track of it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. So for the rest of these, we want to properly stat dot, what is this, pair dot key, pair dot value. And after we have done all of that, we want to recalculate entity stat holder dot recalculate stats using our level, our ref float health, and our ref float max health. So that should properly apply all the debuffs a player might apply to a monster, which we do have a bunch of skills doing. What's up, Art? How you doing? Lost in like 4 different things at once I'm doing here. Run speed. So this is all good and fine. Run speed, this is just the base calculation, right? Which happens under here and generate self, I believe. 5 plus level up to a maximum of 5 and 10, which means that the initial mobs are slower than the mobs at level 5 plus, is how that has been changed to recently. I think that's fine. Used to be more like more like this, which took a lot longer to level up. Well, if the price is right, though, right? That's what it comes down to. But, you know, money's not everything. I don't have any money, but I chose what I'm doing because I like doing it. And I think I'll have money someday, you know. You know that, though. Money's a factor. It's not the only thing, though. A bad job's a bad job. I think that this is fine like this. And run speed equals 10. Why are we even doing that? If level equals less than 100, yeah, we don't need this at all, actually. It's just like that. And so 5 to 10. That guy was previously 8.7. That was using the old math. So this is now, he's going to go all the way up to 10. But if we've got an alteration in place, this is our basic math. However, let's see, 5 plus level. I think actually this is going to be outside of this. let's say times math function clamp. How about math function absolute of, no, I think this is just another clamp here. Let's do double clamp pair.value. So if we're passing, we want to do 100 plus pair.value. So in the event of the trap, it's passing a minus 60. So we want that to mean minus 60%. So we're doing 100 plus that. We're going to come out to 40%. And then we want to divide that by 100 so that we get 0.4. And we're going to do times 0.4, right? Now we don't want this to go any lower than 0. And we don't want it to go any higher than, let's say, 200. Similar to players. Why did we do a second clamp there? Don't think we need a second clamp. Just like this, right? So we've got their base run speed, and there might be some mobs that have a special effect that's infinite that makes them faster, but only up to 200%. Likewise, player abilities can only get them down to 0. We want to make sure that never gets to -1. That would weird the nav mesh agent out, I'm sure. But that should work. The thing about this is only going to get called if there is a run speed effect present. The way that we're doing this is we're applying the effect, we're adding it, and then we're recalculating the effects. When we remove it, like here, it runs out, and we remove it, and we recalculate. This isn't going to fire, because it's not going to find anything. And this is only going to trigger if alterations contains the key. That's not acceptable. Effect.stat alterations. We need to do an else here. Alterations.add sa.stat sa.alteration. So if it doesn't already exist, we'll add it. If it does exist, we'll add on to it to make sure that we only have one of each. And how about we specify inside of this, we've got one that is stat run speed, and he's at, how do we do this? Is it like brackets and brackets? Stat run speed 0. Yeah. So we're going to have one value within this dictionary by default that is run speed at 0. To make sure that this always gets called, in the event that it's 0, we're going to be 100 plus 0 divided by 100, which means we're at 1, and we're just going to go back to normal run speed. That should work fine. And if there's any further alterations to that, they'll get added on top of this 0. So let's recalculate or recompile that and give it a try. Neck hurts today. Since I got up, I tried to do a little bit of stretch, but it didn't go very far. I need to do some stretching. I didn't do my exercises yesterday either. I got caught up working and cooking. No bueno. Gotta get the cat cam fixed too. Cats are in the window. So our monster guy here, he's another rock lobber. Yeah, my wife stole the cat camera and she never gave it back. Yeah, he looks visibly slower there, I think. Let's double check. I just need to plug it back in and, well, I need to get her own camera is what I need to do. This is funny. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 users in Twitch. But Streamlabs says that I've only got one viewer. How does that work? Yeah, it only says one on Twitch. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know, my Streamlabs Twitch user list says users in chat, and then it shows a bunch of people. But I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how that stuff works. Where are your run speeds at now, sir? Rarity, blah, 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 blah. I think I went too far. Walk speed, run speed, yeah. So he's down to 2 and 4. He was at 2 and 10, I believe. Yeah. So we've slowed him down successfully with the snare trap and damaged him. That's good. On top of that, we've got stunning trap and poison trap that we have not set up yet. Oh, you got interrupted to do something else. I have no idea what that's like. I had to get a list going here because I forgot. I had too many things going on at once. Move, miss, logic, finish, spell block. Yeah, we haven't done any of those yet. Lots to do all the time. Every day and always. Poison trap, I think, will be easier. Let's get out of debug mode there. This is just passive. So we want to set up what it's going to do. Somewhere right here. Skill name equals poison trap. How much damage are we going to add? Currently, the trap is only doing... It's got all the run speed stuff. It is doing damage though, right? Oh, it's actually not doing damage. Trap did do damage though. Snare trap, we've got it doing damage. No? Yeah, the damage is being passed from... Oh, it's because I've got it set to what? Physical damage. So it's going to do... Okay, so we want to set that to null. But I think it should do damage. So let's give it null. This basically, if it's at null, it won't use the player's weapon. Is what that means. And then we are actually setting it to be piercing. later, so that works. And we want it to do something just like, 50. A normal attack is 100. So let's do like 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 kind of thing. More important than that is the run speed reduction, and we've got costs too that are not going down. Cooldown is good. Energy cost could go down over time. Let's do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How about 15? Like this. You bring up all these terms all the time, though, Art. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to set up a SharePoint site collection, or what that is, and what putting in a ticket for them actually means. Yeah. Forgive me for not jumping onto, trying to understand your field of work with more enthusiasm. But I feel bad if I don't, acknowledge your struggles, because I do, but don't actually really know what you're talking about most of the time. No offense. What we want to do here is not actually have an effect. We want to have multiple effects. Or can this have health per tick added just to it? Perhaps something to the tune of this. If, let's say, int poison trap level equals client.player skills, get current skill level poison trap. And then if poison trap level is greater than 0, we want to add onto effect dot, what's it called? Slow dot health per tick equals minus, I'll just say 25 for now, and then slow dot duration is already ticks. No, yeah, so I think what we really want to do here is have multiple effects. So basically, when we pass this to the trap, we want to have this be a list of effects, not just one. So let's set that up. Effects, and we're going to now be passing to it a list of effects like this. And if effects dot count is greater than 0, we are going to, for each effect, effect in effects, we're going to apply all of them to the monster. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is initialized so we don't get a null reference error when it tries to look at the count. And likewise, we want to make sure that we've got a list going here. We can move this down to here, get things organized a little better. Snare trap level is going to be used right away. Nope. Let's move. We'll set the attack holder up first. We will set the slow effect there. Let's also make a list of effects like this, and we will effects.add our slow to that, and then likewise, if we need to, we will have a new effect called poison equals new effect, and we will have health per ticks be something undetermined, but our duration is going to be, let's say this is 3 seconds per tick, so 12 would be 4 ticks. How about 5 ticks? Let's do 15 seconds. So that would be 125 damage at this rate, which is pretty good. I'm alright with that. Let's go ahead and keep that, and then we will also add effects. We'll add our poison effect to the effects list. So now we've got both of them in there, and we can pass that to the trap, like so. That's why we do the check. If it's 0, we don't need it. But this is just the trap logic. So the trap logic will always go off. But if we have the poison trap skill, we'll also add a poison effect to it. Likewise, we will also have the stunning trap level equals client.playerskills.get current skill level for stunning trap, which is an archer ability. And we will basically do the same thing. If stunning trap level is greater than 0, is stun logic built into the attack holder? It is not. I think it's built into effect though. Stun equals true, and then we just need the duration, right? Okay, so effect stun equals new effect. Stun.stun equals true, and stun.duration equals, what do we want? We want to set that up here. Poison trap 30, nope, this is not correct. Poison trap is over 15, and it is 25, and we're actually not increasing it by level, are we? We need to do that. So let's do, let's just do, how about 5 times poison level? Does that work? 5 times 5 would be 25. So we'd be doing 25, 50, 75, 100, 125 per level. That sounds good. Which we want to reflect down here. 5 times 5 level, well, let's see. It's actually 25 times level damage over 15 seconds. Right? Per level. Okay. And the archer ability, I don't know where it goes. I like to keep these in order. Stunning trap, it's after careful aiming. This one is stunning trap. And how long do we want this to go for? My math is largely made up, so as you've seen in the past. Monster steps on the trap, gets stunned for 1, 2, 3. 3 is pretty strong. let's say 3 max. Should we do 0.5 plus 0.5 times level? That would be 2.5 plus 0.5 at max level. For 5-second stun. Which would be right here. Effects add stun. Stun duration equals 0.5 plus stunning trap leveled times 0.5. Like this. And that should now be passing all of those. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm not an archer, but I have a lot of points to spend and test with. We should be able actually to get poison and, because I am an adventurer, so we can get poison and stunning trap unlocked and see if they both fire. No, we set that up earlier. That was a new system that I had to add because I agree they should not be able to. So we added all of these. So attacks now have the ability to specify if they can be missed, dodged, parried, or blocked. So some other things like shield spikes, they just send an attack to the monster, but they specify that they can't be missed, dodged, parried, or blocked, like the trap also does. So if they step on it, they step on it, and that's their fault. So let's unlock. I need to fix this icon. Well, we need to finish a lot of icons, really. There it is, poison trap. 25 damage over 15. So there we go. We'll turn that all the way up to 125 damage over 15 seconds. Oh, and we need to scale that based on our level. Right here on this guy. I need to do that for quite a few of these, don't I? Let me write that down. Quite a few passive skill descriptions are not scaling damage math. Basically, we have a thing called combat math. Adjust damage for level. Plain and simple. And this is going to give me a float, and a damage. I'm going to do that. Client dot. Do we not have a client reference right here? But this is UI, so it's okay to call the singleton player script control client dot player skills dot level player stats dot level. We don't have player level here, do we? No. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we definitely want to get more variety of harvesting skills in, don't we? I don't think it needs to be infinite, you know, like if you get up to 200, you know, maybe you run out of stuff to do, or skills to buy. But maybe it should, though. There could be a final infinite skill that you have to put 100 points into the profession first, and then the last one is infinite and helps you scale continuously. But then it just kind of becomes pointless, right? You know? And really you should just stop receiving skill points, I think, is the best way. Because it feels bad to have unspent skill points with nothing to spend them on, right? That's kind of a current problem with the current beta, isn't it? Let me write that down. That's even lower. One time. Stop awarding skill points for maxed players' professions. That'll fix that. Anyway, let's try and make sure that this fires at least. So we've got poison trap and I don't have anything in here. Let's go ahead and buy these. I don't actually have enough skill points to unlock this, do I? I'm gonna have to level up. Double shot. Freezing magic, piercing shot, dexterity I'm fine with. Okay, I'm gonna have to cheat here. Hold on. Dexterity. Careful aiming. There we are. Stunning trap. 1 second stun. We'll get it to 3 seconds. Okay. I don't really want to save that, but again, let me spawn some monsters. Okay. Get trap set up there. Let me shoot him. Come here, you. And that stunned him, but it didn't stop his animation. So that's something we can improve. He should go like this. We'll definitely be doing that in the near future. Well, I guess we can just wait to see his poison. I guess I didn't name it, but yeah. It actually doesn't look like it's going off. Snare trap was parried. Didn't we say that he can't do that? Can parry equals false. Get sent to the monster. Attack holder can parry. We said no, so he should not be able to parry. How did he parry? Or poison trap doesn't seem to be triggering. New effect, effects add. It should have applied that as an effect. And it's going to add that to his current effects. Recalculate stats. Which is fine. That's actually not going to do anything. But then when we go to handle current effects up here. Oh, no, we don't. I thought we had apply effect, recalculate effect. Where is handle effects? There it is. If health predict does not equal 0, which it shouldn't, and it should show us hitting him here, and there's no option to dodge that or anything. It just applies it flat out. So does he not have that on him? What happened? Current effects might need to be in debug mode to see that. Where is it? Current effects. Size 0. And it did say dot or parried. Well. Let's just hit him with another trap. Step on it. step on it. There, you stepped on it. You hit Earth Elemental with Snare Trap for 47.2. And current effects has 1. He's got the stun on him. He didn't get the poison though. And I unlocked that, right? What happened? Snare Trap. Poison Trap. Did I name it right? If Poison Trap level, make a new effect. Add it. Good. Should have made it to him. Unless I named Poison Trap wrong or something like that. Poison Trap. Poison Trap. Let's put another... Oh, see, now it's trying to do... I fixed this so that now it is actually trying to alter their stats. But... Stat not found. Armor. We do handle that differently, don't we? Another thing to do. That needs to happen immediately, though. Monster armor reduction logic. Because they don't actually treat armor as a stat in the entity stat holder. Not like these guys. Armor is its own thing, which is armor level, and basically just gets set to their level during generation, supposedly. During input archetype, that's right. Basically just their level, but then the multiplier gets changed. But reducing the armor level is a good thing. I can actually do that really quick right here. Let's do that before I go to lunch. Handle effects. Recalculate effects. If it is run speed, else if pair.key is equal to stat.armor. Armor plus equals no, we need to do armor equals level plus oh. You okay? My cat started falling, got stuck halfway. Actually got their neck kind of stuck there. That was kind of... He was fine. He was getting out of it himself, but... like he was in a cardboard bowl that was falling backwards, and he was stuck between the bowl and the desk. Like this. It was kind of not nice. Armor plus armor equals level plus the pair dot value. So that's going to reduce his armor level or add to it if he's got an armor buff for some reason, which certain monsters probably will. Which would be neat to have, like a 5-second buff where their armor just goes up super crazy. And the player's like, what's happening? And then it wears off. And if you had the ability to see that buff being applied somewhere on the health bar, which is kind of why I'm curious. Art, are you still here? What do you think about that? Like, I use World of Warcraft as a reference in my head a lot because the interface and the numbers, the feedback is really clean in that game. Even if I hate modern WoW, it's not at all fun the way that they've changed it over the years. My opinion. But I do really like their interface in a number of different ways. There's things about it I really like. And so in like World of Warcraft, for example, it's just all I'm using it for as an example. When you select a monster, you can actually target monsters. And it's the same in EverQuest or whatever, that awards you the ability to see all of the effects that are on them, right? And you can mouse over them and see what they do and stuff. Is Path of Exile like that? See how you've got this here, and you can... Another thing about that, too, is that you're not locked into mouse movement mode. You hold down the right mouse button to go into movement mode. Otherwise, you've got the cursor on the screen all the time, and you can mouse over your own buffs up here to see what you've got, or you can mouse over a monster's buffs and say, oh my god, this is doing this. And that also makes it easy for heals and stuff because you can select a person. You can actually click on a person. And if we were to change Solace crafting down this route, there's a number of different things that would change. And I'm not sure that everybody would think that those are positives. But ability to target mobs would award... you would no longer need to aim ranged magic attacks. That's like the big one. But you would also no longer be locked into mouse movement mode by default. i.e., you would need to hold down like right mouse button to engage, for example, right? And likewise with PoE, they've got, you've got your cursor on the screen at all time. Is really the big one. I think this is the big change. Being able to target mobs, I don't think this would cause problems for pretty much anybody. Being able to shoot arrows manually is kind of fun, but it's also just kind of a straight up nuisance compared to melee, right? I've seen so many people streaming that are like looking at the ground trying to run away from something, and they're just throwing fireballs at the grass because in that panic state they're not actually aiming properly, and so this, I don't think this is a net negative, but this would be a very big change to the systems. Yeah, and auto attack would become a thing too. If you had a target, you could just go into combat mode and your player would do the basic attacks as fast as they can. And I don't not like that. I'm quite okay with that. We're kind of like in this weird limbo between World of Warcraft and Valheim. I was using the two examples earlier where you're in that movement mode with the mouse locked and you're trying to aim and hit at stuff, but at the same time it's actually math that's determining whether you hit or not the physics of swinging the sword. Yeah, and I definitely don't want to do stuff like that, where you, the full Valheim route, where you're actually, your sword actually needs to hit something, and it changes the damage based on the hit, if it hits it in the head, like you can, Dark Souls or whatever, if you shoot, well, I think Skyrim's like that in pretty much every game, Elder Scrolls, where you can shoot someone, and if you shoot them in the head, it does a lot more damage. I don't like that, because that's too competitive, kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, I want to play a casual game, and I want to make casual games. I don't want them to be super skill-based, where you're jumping and ducking and pushing 16 buttons at once, and which is why I would not be against switching to a targeting system, and that would offer a variety of benefits. Would be easy to target others for heals, buffs, because currently we don't have a way to do this, and that's kind of been a problem. Like, we could just say, if you're looking right at a player, when you trigger the heal or when you trigger the buff, it gives them priority. But then it's like mid-combat, you're fighting something with a friend, and you're trying to heal yourself desperately, but because you were looking at them, it triggers off to them, because that's just how the logic works, and then you die. And it's a pretty rare extreme case, I think, but it could happen. Yeah, I think Worm still has that. You choose the direction of your attack. I think Conan... What's the Conan online game called? Not Conan Exiles. Conan Unchained or something? They have the old Conan MMO. Not Exiles. That's the new... That's not an MMO. They had a Conan MMO. I'm sure it's still active. Not sure if it's on Steam or not. Conan MMO, it's not going to work. Age of Conan Unchained. Yeah, this is actually a really good game. Well, the first 10 levels of this game are really cool because they're voice acted. Like, the whole starting island is voice acted. But yeah, this is a pretty fun game. I think it's free to play. Yeah, up to some point. I've made quite a few number of characters of this over the years. Definitely a decent MMO. But yeah, they do the, what direction do you want to attack, what direction do you want to block kind of weird stuff, which is kind of fun. Lord of the Rings Online, definitely. I tried to get back into that game last year a bit because I love the universe, But it is an MMO, and I got to level 12 or something, and then you're like, all right, I killed like 400 things, and I'm still not level 13. Come on. I have a hard time with those. Anyway, what was I in the middle of? Oh, the armor value. I think I fixed that. Armor plus equals, yeah, because that's not... We can't let alter stat trigger that. That's fine. When we remove an effect, we also need to... Yeah, and because we're doing this, likewise, we want to add one of these here. Stat armor by default is 0. So it'll always trigger, and we'll always add at least our level plus the armor, so that'll fix that error. Looks like our poison is not triggering for some reason, though. But I unlocked it, didn't I? Poison trap, spelled properly. Poison trap. Did I spell it wrong in the code, maybe? Poison trap. These don't have names, do they? They really need a name. Effect.skill. Whoops, poison. Poison.name, skill, what was it? That's the string, huh? Equals poison trap. Let's at least add these in. Stunning trap. Anyway, you know what I mean there, Art, right? With the ability to see what's going on. Nope, there's currently no maximum number of things that can be, oh, I said stunning art, whoops, stunning trap. No maximum amount. It's just like, you can see down in the combat log currently is the only way to see if like one of your bleed debuffs triggered or something, right? Say you've got a skill that applies a bleed 5% of the time when you're using swords. How do you know that that went off? You know what I mean? That's the problem I have with the current system, is that you can't it's not easy enough to see that those kinds of things are going on. Or if the bear roars and it's increased its strength by 10 for 10 seconds because of its roar, I think the player should know that. Like, that's never going to make it to the combat log either. There's no way for the player to know that that just happened with the current system. And I think that's important that it is. But if I just add that under the health bar of the mob, which is currently, you know, in the 3D world, you can't see that, or you can't mouse over it and see what it does. You know, you'd have to hit escape and like stop attacking and mouse over it. Nobody's going to want to do that. I think we might have to switch to a targeting system to get this to work, and that's not something that would be terribly difficult, but something I've been thinking about lately. And WoW does give you the option to show health bars over monsters while you're fighting them, even if they're not targeted. Some games like EverQuest will show you the health bar of anything that's currently got you on their aggro list. So when you're just walking around, you don't have anything, but if something aggroes onto you, then it gets added to your display list. So you never see their health bar in the world, but anything you're engaged with, it does show their health bar. Yeah, that's a lot of passive stuff going on there. But I mean, I don't think it would be possible, even if you unlocked all of the current buffs in the game. You know, you're level 300, you've got everything unlocked, and you apply them all. Still, probably no more than like 10 or something. Yeah, this is EverQuest 2 does it kind of like this, where they've got the skills that you're wearing, or is it up here? This is a weird screenshot, but yeah, this is the players down here. And then you've got your target, etc., etc. Yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely there's ups and downs to both systems. Like, you don't want to have too much information, but I think that adding all of these skills, monster abilities and stuff that we're working on, I think we're giving too little information currently. You know, and even if I add that a bear roar has happened, and you can see it under the mobs, like upgrading monster health bars is one of the like main things. Who said that Health bar. Someone in chat said health bars. Was it you, Art? You said health bars were showing up for everybody in multiplayer? What's up with that? But anyway. Even after restarting? It's weird. Like, this is all the information we've got right now, right? And I think this is way too little. I think we should have a name. I think we should have a trait, if they do have a trait. You know, like poisoned or whatever. Maybe that's like above the name. And then maybe underneath we can have active buffs or active debuffs. And maybe they've got a red border if they're a debuff and a green border if they're a buff. And maybe it should be a target window too. And then you actually click on something and you target it. You have to hold down right mouse button to enter into movement mode. Probably won't get into targeting quite yet. Yeah, definitely, and show the time as well. That's what I think. Oh, I closed my window, huh? I think World of Warcraft does that really well. They're all really low, bad quality screenshots. Can I? HD, please. Yeah, they've got 16, 5, 18, 18 showing how much is going on. How is this an HD image? It's not HD. Two seconds, 9 seconds. Can I not see a real copy of this? Is this HD? It doesn't look like HD to me. 1920 by 1080 is HD, isn't it? What's wrong with you, Google? Used to be more settings for this too. Like you could actually say how big you wanted it. I guess they got rid of all that stuff, huh? Make things easier for the user by removing all kinds of functionality. That's the route we don't want to go. You know, we don't want to have maximum functionality with just way overloaded stuff. But we don't want to have too little. Have to find that balance somewhere. Anyway, I need to go to lunch. I'm hungry. I think I probably have to go buy food before I can make lunch because my kitchen's pretty empty. But I'm going to bring up some of this stuff in chat. There was some other stuff that you didn't see quite, Art. We were talking about two-handed weapons and some things. I'll bring both of these up in chat and see if we can get some input going. But yeah, I'm gonna head to lunch, so thanks for stopping by. I'll get the cat cam fixed too, because they're being cute kitties now that the weather's starting to warm up a little bit. I could see that. I'm not really running any social media or promotions or anything right now, so oh, that's probably my fault, and I fixed that today. That makes sense. The new entity stat holder that we generated so that mobs can parry and dodge and all that was changing their max health without updating their health to the max health during creation. So they were spawning with 525 max health, for example, but actually only having 500 health. So if you're in multiplayer, that would probably slow update the data from the server, causing the health bar to trigger on. And currently monsters do not have regen, so they would all just be stuck like that. Regen is definitely something we will want to put in too. That'll probably be a trait. Have some monsters with crazy regen. Currently it's just either you kill them or they reset, right? But anyway, so I'm gonna head to lunch. If I don't stop this, I'll just keep rambling for another half an hour.